It was over in seconds, but the moment stayed. Long after Kate rose from her deep bow, the crowd remained silent. Nobody clapped. Nobody moved. It was like they didn't want the moment to end. Even the sound of the wind felt different, softer, almost scared to break the silence. Then finally, a small boy in the crowd whispered, "Mom, why did she bow like that?" His mother didn't answer right away. Her eyes were wet. Her voice shook a little as she said, because that was her. "Goodbye." And she was right. Kate's bow was not planned in any royal book. It was not something rehearsed or expected. It came from the heart, from a place of love and pain, from years of quiet respect. And in that one small action, she gave the Queen a gift that words could never give, a goodbye the world would never forget. That night, the world talked about it. News channels showed the clip again and again. Headlines read, "Kate's bow, the moment that stopped the world, a silent goodbye of princesses. Deepest act of love." She bowed and we cried. People who had never followed the royal family suddenly felt connected. Young people, old people, even those from faraway countries, they all said the same thing. I felt that. In classrooms, teachers played the video and asked, "What do you think this means?" In churches, pastors spoke of humility and grace. In homes, families sat together and talked about love, duty, and grief. Even world leaders spoke about it. One president said in a speech, "Sometimes the quietest actions become the loudest message." Princess Catherine reminded us of that today, but Kate didn't speak about it. She didn't give an interview. She didn't post anything online. She didn't explain. She didn't have to, because that bow wasn't for the cameras. It was for the Queen. A few weeks later, someone close to the royal family shared a memory. They said Kate once told them, "The Queen taught me that you don't always need to speak to be heard." She said the best moments are the ones that speak through feeling, not noise. It's exactly what Kate did. Even now, people remember it. They don't remember what songs were sung. Don't remember what the weather was. They don't remember who wore what. They remember the bow. It became more than just a royal moment. It became a symbol of respect, of love, of human truth. A picture of someone strong enough to show emotion, brave enough to bend, and wise enough to say nothing when silence meant more. Years later, children would ask, "Did you see it?" The moment she bowed, and the answer would always be the same. "Yes, I saw it. I'll never forget it." Kate's bow became part of history, not just because she was a princess, not just because it was seen by millions, but because it was real, real pain, real love, real goodbye. And in a world full of noise, that quiet moment reminded everyone what true grace looks like. And so, the story ends, not with a speech, not with a parade, not even with a crown, but with a woman standing in grief, bowing so the world could feel what love really means. A silent crowd, a moved monarch, a memory forever etched. It was one of those mornings that people remember forever. The sky over London was a soft gray, not too dark, not too bright, just quiet. Cold air touched people's skin like a soft warning, as if the wind itself knew something important was about to happen. Thousands of people stood outside Buckingham Palace. No one was talking. No one was laughing. No one even moved much. They stood behind the black gates, some holding small flags, some holding white flowers, others simply holding hands. Faces showed sadness, curiosity, and something else, a kind of silent shock. The Queen was gone. That truth alone was hard to believe. The Queen had been there for so long, always calm, always strong, always royal. To many people, it felt like she would live forever. Now the country was saying goodbye. Inside the palace grounds, a group of royals stood dressed in black. The men looked serious, their eyes straight ahead. The women stood quietly, some holding tissues, others clenching their hands. Among them stood Catherine, Princess of Wales, Kate. She stood still like a statue, yet her eyes moved, not fast, but slowly, carefully. Her face was calm, but not cold. Her expression held something deeper, pain, respect, and quiet strength. The cameras focused on her. Every major news channel was watching. But Kate didn't look at them. She wasn't thinking about the world. She was thinking about one person, the Queen. A few children in the crowd whispered to their parents, "Why is everyone so quiet?" One mother replied softly, "Because something powerful is happening." Kate's hands were at her sides. Her black coat was long and simple. Her hair was tied back, neat and respectful. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She didn't wave. But somehow, even in stillness, she was the most watched person there. Many people expected speeches. Some expected music. Others expected a grand royal farewell. But what happened next was something no one had expected. Before the Queen's casket was brought out, the gates opened. A slow march of guards moved forward. Their footsteps were heavy, but quiet, like echoes. Through time, the coffin, covered with the royal flag and crown, followed behind. The crowd gasped, not loudly, but as one, like a wave of soft air. The Queen was really gone. This was the moment. Everyone knew it. Kate took a deep breath. Something inside her shifted. She was not just a royal figure now. She was a symbol of memory, of respect, of grace under sadness. Her lips pressed together, and her eyes glistened just for a second. But still she didn't cry. Children in the crowd became silent. Reporters stopped whispering. Even the guards looked more focused. Felt like time had paused. Everyone waited for someone to speak, but no one did. Then all eyes turned to Kate. No one knew why. Maybe it was the way she stood. Maybe it was the energy she carried. Something about her in that moment held everyone's attention. They didn't know what she would do. And that was the moment that made hearts beat faster. That moment between silence and action, between royalty and humanity. What would Kate do? Was she just standing there for the cameras? Was she lost in thought? Was she going to speak? Cry? Leave? No one could guess. And in that frozen silence, that breath of history, Kate prepared to do something that would move millions. Even though it would take only seconds, a bow, a simple bow. But not yet. That part was still to come. Right now, the world held its breath and watched. The wind picked up just a little, moving Kate's black coat gently as she stood in front of the Queen's casket. The world around her was frozen in silence, but inside her mind was not quiet at all. She was remembering to the world, the world. The Queen had been a powerful leader, a symbol of duty and grace. But to Kate, she had also been a guide, a steady hand, and in many ways, a grandmother figure. Kate never said much about their private moments, but she carried them inside her heart. Kate remembered the first time she had tea with the Queen. She was nervous back then, a young woman still learning what it meant to be part of the royal family. The Queen had smiled and said gently, "You're doing just fine, dear. Always hold your head high, but never be afraid to bow when the moment is right." That memory echoed in her mind now. She blinked slowly, her face still calm, but her eyes full of emotion. She didn't look at the crowd. She didn't look at the cameras. She looked at the casket, simple, yet royal, and her eyes said everything her lips would never speak. William stood close beside her, silent, strong, but not untouched. He saw the look on Kate's face, and he knew she was feeling more than just grief. She was carrying something heavy. The Queen had taught her many things, not with long speeches, but with quiet examples. Like how to walk into a room and make people feel seen. How to stay calm when the world was watching. How to protect your heart without hiding it. Kate had watched her closely over the years, not just as a queen, but as a woman, a mother, wife, a leader, and now she was gone. A small tear formed in the corner of Kate's eye. She didn't wipe it away. She let it stay there like a tiny gem of truth, the kind of truth that didn't need words. Behind her, the sound of soft footsteps continued. Soldiers, guards, and family members all moved in slow, respectful rhythm. The crowd outside stayed silent, almost scared to breathe too loudly. It was not just sadness in the air. It was something deeper, something sacred. Then something unexpected happened. A bird flew low over the palace grounds. Just one bird, white, fast, and quiet. Some people saw it and gasped softly. Some pointed, It was small, maybe not important. But too many watching, it felt like a sign. A symbol of peace. Goodbye from the sky. Kate saw it too. Her eyes followed it for just a second. And then she looked back at the Queen's casket. The guards came to a stop. Everything slowed down even more. And in that moment, a question arose in every heart watching. What will Kate do now? They didn't know that she had already made her choice. Not today, but many weeks ago, the night she found out the Queen had died. That night, after hugging her children and wiping her tears alone, she sat at the edge of her bed and remembered the Queen's words, "Never be afraid to bow when the moment is right." Kate had promised herself that when the time came, she would bow, not as a rule, not as a royal duty, but as a woman saying goodbye to another woman she deeply respected. No one knew it yet. The cameras didn't see it coming. The news didn't report it in advance. But something unforgettable was about to happen. And when it did, it would not just touch the royal family. It would touch the whole world. No one expected what happened next. Not the guards, not the royal family, not the crowd watching in quiet sorrow, certainly not the millions sitting at home in front of their televisions. The Queen's casket stood still, resting gently on its platform. The royal flags moved slowly in the wind. Everything was silent, deeply silent, like the world was holding its breath. Then Kate stepped forward. She didn't rush. She didn't look around. She just moved, one step at a time, like she knew exactly what she needed to do. People in the crowd leaned forward. Journalists raised their cameras. Even the guards, trained to show no emotion, blinked and looked. What was she doing? Was she about to give a speech? Was she going to cry? Was this part of the plan? No one knew. Kate reached the front of the casket. She looked down at it, her eyes soft but full of quiet power. The crown sat on top of the flag, shining in the gray light, symbol of leadership, of legacy, of a life lived in service. Kate did not touch it. She did not speak. She bowed. But it was not a small nod of the head. Not a quick movement like people do in formal events. No. Kate slowly lowered herself, one leg behind the other, and dropped into a full, deep curtsy. Her head bowed low, almost to the ground, her back straight, arms still, her eyes closed. The air changed. People gasped. Some covered their mouths, some started to cry, not loudly, but with quiet sobs they couldn't stop. One elderly woman in the front row whispered, "Oh." She really meant it. It wasn't just a royal bow. It was a human bow. A goodbye, a thank you, a silent message. It was full of love, respect, and deep emotion. The new King, Charles, watched his daughter-in-law with wide eyes. He had known her 4 years. He had seen her smile at the Queen, walk beside her at public events, and laugh gently during royal dinners. But now, watching her bow like this, something inside him moved. This was not just a moment in history. It was a moment of heart in homes across the world. People watching on TV felt it too. A man in Canada turned off his radio and stared at the screen. A woman in Kenya wiped tears from her cheeks. A group of schoolchildren in India watching the funeral paused their talking. Even they understood something special was happening. Even the sky seemed to grow still. It lasted only a few seconds, but it felt like time had stopped. When Kate finally rose, her eyes looked misty. Her face was still calm, but not cold. It was soft, open, full of quiet emotion. She stepped back without a word. She didn't wave. She didn't smile. She didn't look for praise. She simply bowed and stepped away. And in that single act, she did something no speech could do. She reminded the world that real respect doesn't need big words. Real goodbye doesn't always need tears. And real love, deep, quiet love, can be shown in a moment so silent yet so strong that it leaves a mark forever. The crowd began to cry openly. Some whispered prayers. Others held their children closer. Some simply stood, unable to move. They would never forget what they just saw. Neither would history. That single bow full of grace, pain, and love became the moment the world understood. That royalty is not just about crowns or titles. Sometimes it's about the courage to bend when your heart is full,